Hey guys, welcome back. And on this episode of the show, I'm going to be covering a sequel that I never thought I would do. It's Birdemic 2, The Resurrection. And believe it or not, it manages to be worse than the first Birdemic somehow. I never thought that was possible. It is. I reviewed the first Birdemic a few years ago, and I very much remember at the time being amazed at just how bad it was. And this movie somehow managed to recapture that feeling. Now, I'm sure none of you would be surprised if I told you that this was a really bad movie. I wasn't surprised either when I watched it, but what did surprise me was how writer-director James Wynn, it appears like he's learned nothing since the first Birdemic. There was 3 years separating these two movies, and all of the same mistakes are here. Some of them are even worse than they were the first time around. The funny thing is, this isn't really much different from the first Birdemic. All the same stuff is here: long, boring shots, terrible dialogue, pointless scenes, abysmal acting, the environmental message, visual effects that, these just speak for themselves. I know I've commented on the acting before, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my first Birdemic review, but it appears like the most talented member of the cast, I would say, is Whitney Moore. And she just has nothing to do here. She's just kind of there. Why don't you give the most talented member of your cast the majority of the work, of the stuff to do? That's what drives me nuts watching this. And the rest of the cast is like cardboard. I'm really not, trying to be mean here. I'm really honest. I'm just really trying to be honest. Alan, who plays Rod, he just doesn't really emote at all. Even in moments where you'd think there's got to be something here, there's just nothing. He just looks so uninterested and bored, and it might just be, his personality or who he is, but to be an actor, you really need to emote. You need to show some emotion. There's got to be some range, and there's just none. I have more expression when I'm looking at fruit in the grocery store, and it's constant. Not only throughout the movie, but even in the poster. He looks like he couldn't possibly be more bored. The movie starts with a film director named Bill walking down Hollywood Boulevard until he crosses Vine, and then slows down his pace so that he's not going too fast for the person walking with the camera to follow him. As you might expect, this opening credit sequence goes on for an extremely long time. The camera work is so horrible that it may cause nausea. The camera operator even loses the actor at one point and struggles to find him. And just because there's a police car in the shot doesn't mean you have to add in a really annoying police siren. So Bill goes to the Happy Ending restaurant. We have a shot of the sign just to clarify, but with all this text on the screen, probably not the best place to stick your director credit. Bill walks in, and I don't know what it is with the hostesses in these movies, but why is this always so awkward?
Hi. Hi.
Just like the first Birdemic, the technical side of the production is lacking right from the beginning. Like, the sound is just so horrible.
Last time I saw you was at your Sundance premiere of your movie Four Seasons, which, by the way, swept Sundance.
I just don't understand this. You went through all this work to put all this together, but you don't invest in a shotgun mic or a boom operator. At the very least, you just pick up some wireless lavaliers to record the sound, something, so that we don't have to strain to understand what the characters are saying in every scene. Also, when the texture of the stuff in the background is sharper than the faces of your actors, your focus is off. So Bill finds out that Gloria here is trying to make her way into the movie business.
So you're an actress. How come I've never heard of you?
This is probably like the worst thing to ask someone. Like, oh, you're an actor? Well, how come I never heard of you? Oh, I guess it's because I'm not successful, asshole. And this guy's supposed to be a film director? So this guy comes into a place called the Happy Ending Restaurant, asks you if you're an actor, looks you up and down, and then tells you you should audition for a role in his movie Sunset Dreams. Like, if it was me, my first impression would be like, okay, you're making porn. Like, how is that not porn? But if she truly wants to be an actor, maybe she better start by acting like an actual waitress.
Thanks.
Do you know what you want to order yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the chicken wings.
Got it. Got it.
So Rod and Natalie show up and sit down. Suddenly, the beers are just poured. That was magical. And again, check out the detail in the background here compared to his hair. It's also a good idea to check and make sure that any lights or crew members can't be seen in the frame through reflections or whatnot. Anyways, Bill is telling Rod about his new movie that he's making. Keep in mind that Bill is a pretty successful director at this point, and Rod is a millionaire, which is probably why they're having lunch in such a nice place that obviously has a lot of customers, as we can see. Maybe it's the beer with zero carbonation that keeps people lined up around the block. So Rod cuts him a check to help finance the movie as long as he puts Natalie and his adopted son in it, and they celebrate. It's almost like he doesn't really know what to do next here. Like, yeah, okay, so, you want me to keep my arms up or? Cut the shot, for the love of God. Like, how do you sit there and watch this and be like, yeah, this is good pacing? Hire an editor to come in and just sit there with them and watch, watch how they cut the film and watch how they deal with pacing, watch how they deal with transitioning from scene to scene, and ask them questions. Or just, do the edit yourself if you don't want to spend the money, and then hire an editor just to come in as a consultant for like a day and just go over the edit and give you notes on what they would do. So the next shot is Bill at another restaurant, and just listen to this. I have no idea what they were going for with this audio.
5,000 birds fell from the sky and were found dead in Beebe, Arkansas, Kentucky. A pastor has said it is an omen, a religious meaning, the end of days.
Bill then sees Gloria and she's moving back home because she's sick of not getting any parts. So Bill tries to convince her to stay by saying he wouldn't be surprised if one day he saw her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And then they look down and look, it's Tippi Hedren's star. Is this so that you can put her in the credits again, like you did last time? So Bill is desperate to get Gloria to audition for his movie. So he tells her if she auditions and she doesn't get the part, he'll give her $1,000. How aren't you convinced that this guy is completely shady? Like, he's running after you, asking you to audition for his movie because he knows how talented you are? Talented at what? He's never seen you do anything. What was it? Was it your bubbly attitude? Was it the way you take orders for chicken wings?
Got it.
So they shake on it, and again, he's just frozen, staring at her. I guess this is the investors meeting where Bill tries to secure funding for the film. Don't know why we're focused on the door handle here. Might be a good idea to clean the glass before that shot as well. Throughout this scene, there's these office sound effects put in, like printers and fax machines. And, first of all, you really don't need it here. It's kind of out of place. This is a boardroom. But secondly, instead of thinking about what sounds to put into the background, focus on recording the sound properly on set.
So where are the topless chicks? Right, where are the sex scenes? I don't see anything in here.
Listen, Sunset Dreams, it's not all about the veins, boobs, and blood.
So as the investors go through the script on their iPads, which aren't even turned on, they get upset because there's no topless chicks, fight scenes, blood and guts in the film. But Bill tells them that's not what the movie's about. And they tell him they'd have to be a little crazy to invest in this movie, but what the hell, why not?
So, we decided to invest $1 million in your movie.
And this reaction, I'm sorry, it's just comical.
Thanks, everyone. We're making a movie!
Expression-wise, Bill and Rod are like polar opposites. And while, I might criticize him for going a little goofy with it, the actor playing Bill, at least he tries to emote. So they give Gloria the lead role in the movie, and here it's obvious they did ADR because the words don't really match up with her mouth.
Yes, I would love to play Kim in Sunset Dreams.
Awesome. I think you'll be great as Kim.
I know I will. I mean, I'm playing myself.
And if you did it here, why didn't you do it through the rest of the movie? That's what I don't get. Like, If I would like to know, how bad was the sound in this scene where you're like, okay, well, we gotta dub this over? It's at this point where Bill tries to trick Gloria into a date.
How about lunch tomorrow to celebrate your first major movie role?
Is this a pickup?
No, not at all. It's strictly business.
Are we supposed to like the character of Bill? Because making him, like manipulative and dishonest, it really isn't the best way to get the audience on their side. I mean, look at this. What are we supposed to think here? Yes, make sure to get the shot of him looking like a low-rent Bond villain. So they go out for lunch in a scene that is completely pointless. It also doesn't help that once again the audio is so insanely bad. And then this happens.
I'm gonna help make you a movie star.
What can I do to ever repay you for helping me out with my movie career?
Oh, a lot.
All right. Are you trying to make this guy the villain here? Like, what? And just watch this. Just look at this. My skin is crawling from how creepy this is. And the thing is, if they were trying to make this guy the villain, job well done. But they're not. What did you expect? Like, as an audience, are we supposed to be watching this going, oh, yeah. Yeah, man, yeah. The car ride scene lasts a long time. The least they could do is have some continuity with the sunglasses. But I guess none of Bill's creepiness was a turnoff for her because I guess she's just into him now. This is also a great shot to include them waiting at the stoplight. Yeah, I gotta make sure that gets into this 90-second driving sequence. So they go around LA and have some fun. Some of these shots, I'm really not sure why they're in here. Like this one. What is happening here? Why do we need to see them walk down some steps? There's some kind of filter put over this shot. I don't know why, it just looks horrible. Then they run into Rod and Natalie. And are you ready for this? It's the jellyfish scene to end all jellyfish scenes. There's so much about this scene that makes it a strong contender for the worst scene in the movie. And considering what happens in all of the other scenes, that's quite a feat. So let's get started. Now, it may come as a shock to you, but this person is not actually underwater. This is obviously done with a green screen because if it was actually shot underwater, this woman's legs and bathing suit would probably be wet. Now the jellyfish comes in, and once again, I'm sorry to say, this is not a real jellyfish. Real jellyfish usually aren't pixelated in real life. So the jellyfish attacks her and she runs out of the water screaming for help around a bunch of bystanders that probably thought she actually needed help since they're obviously not hired extras. The fact that you had to blur this guy's face kind of indicates that. And once again, I'm totally mystified by the work done on the audio here. It's almost like a guessing game to find out where these voices are coming from.
Are you okay?
What's stung you?
A giant jumbo jellyfish.
Hurry, somebody call the ambulance. Call 911. Don't worry, miss. We're gonna get help.
Please, we need an ambulance now. A woman has been stung on the beach.
What happened to her?
I don't know, something about a giant jumbo jellyfish. Please, we need an ambulance now.
Where are you located?
The "Are you okay?" is obviously dubbed in. It comes out of nowhere. It doesn't fit at all. I also like how Rod says, "Someone call an ambulance," and then takes out his phone and hands it to Gloria. Why wouldn't you just call then, Rod? You have the phone in your hand, so why wouldn't you do it? Someone call 911! Hurry, she's bleeding! Quick, do it! Here, take my phone. I would call, but I just hate the way my voice sounds over the phone. I'm always afraid that people on the other line are making fun of me. And for some reason, as he hands it over, it's already connected to 911. No one even pretends to dial anything. So if you dubbed in the voice of her saying, "Are you okay?" why wouldn't you dub in the voice of the 911 operator? No, let's just have somebody who's on set but off screen do the voice. I mean, it totally won't sound like it's coming from the phone at all, and it'll probably confuse the audience, but whatever. And here's another great moment of, what the hell, where did that voice come from?
Hey guys, what I missed?
A woman was attacked by a giant jumbo jellyfish.
Really?
Now, as you watch the crudely animated ambulance drive away, you may be thinking, what was the point of that? There is none. It has nothing to do with anything. It never comes back. I really have no idea why it's in the movie. Normally, I would be much more emphatic about a scene that makes completely no sense, but there are so many in here that it's really just par for the course. Okay, so next they go to a museum. Don't know why they put this filter over these shots again. It just looks weird. The background noise that was used for this makes no sense. Just listen to it. It's like a bunch of people yelling, smacking sticks or something. Not only does it not fit in a museum atmosphere, it definitely doesn't fit in a museum that only has a handful of people in it. Hey, we need some background noise. The noise from the actual museum isn't realistic enough. Don't worry, guys. I got this. So they're walking around looking at the bird skeletons. I guess this is Rod's adopted son from the first movie. And as they're looking at the bones, he turns to Natalie and says this.
I wish Susan could have been here to see this bird skeleton, but she got a disease from that fish that Rod cooked.
Wait, what? What the hell was that? Who is Susan? I had to look it up. It turns out Susan is the sister from the first movie. But besides that, she couldn't be there because she got a disease from a fish that Rod cooked? So is she dead? What happened to her? I don't see why this was necessary. I feel like this was just put in to explain why the other character isn't in the movie. But quite frankly, who cares? I totally forgot about any of this shit. I guarantee that no one who saw the first movie is even going to really remember or point to this as a major inconsistency with this franchise. Out of all the things going wrong here, a minor character not making a return appearance is the absolute least of your problems. I also love the music cue. It just fits in perfectly after a line like this. She can't be here because she caught a disease from a fish. I also have no idea what's going on here. What is he trying to do? Grab onto this thing? Tear it down from the ceiling? What the hell's wrong with this kid? Outside, they meet up with Dr. Jones and start talking with him from a distance.
Dr. Jones, do you have any birds I can play with?
You gotta hand it to this kid. Sure, he witnessed his parents being murdered by birds, but you know what? He's not fazed by that. Hashtag not all birds. He's gonna find some birds to play with, even if they're not alive anymore. So Dr. Jones starts talking about how birds used to kill cavemen or something, and then we actually see a scene of some cave people having sex and then being killed by the birds. This is a nice prehistoric background you got here. The modern person walking around in the distance really adds a nice touch. Then Dr. Jones leaves. They wave goodbye. Hey, I guess the people in the background were friends of his as well. Anyways, I guess they go to Catalina Island, and just in case you weren't sure how they got there, I'm pretty sure it was by a boat. I mean, why else would we have to sit here and watch a 30-second shot of this thing? Then they're walking along the beach and Rod decides, hey, let's sit down in the sand, right here. And they proceed to have a boring discussion about acting. There's a moment here where it's almost like they try to plant the seed for Natalie to be jealous of Gloria for getting the lead role, but guess what? That doesn't go anywhere anyways. So screw it, let's go to the dirtiest bar we can find. And Natalie mentions that, hey, by coincidence, her mom is vacationing on the island as well, and she might stop by at some point. And then, bam, she's right there. Just in time, too. We almost made it a few minutes without a pointless scene. And, of course, the movie delivers. Not only that, but we also get another dance scene, just like in the first movie, with the same guy. The only difference is that this time there's more than 2 people on the dance floor. It's nice to see, though, that obviously the actors are kind of having fun with this, and obviously not taking this very seriously because, well, how could you? And it's incredibly long and boring as expected. It runs the entire length of the song. Sounds like the instrumental track to a karaoke version of Dynamite. So I guess this was all it took for Gloria to fall for Bill. And again, like the first movie, we have this awkward sex scene in a cheap motel room. It might have been a good idea to have cropped this piece of equipment out of the frame, or maybe try to cut out the shot where the crew is clearly visible. On the plus side though, it appears like they do have a boom mic. So then I have to ask the question, if you had the boom operator for this scene, where you obviously didn't even really need sound, Where was he when you needed him? You know, like every scene other than this one. So now the skies turn red and blood starts raining down. The birds and cavemen just come out of the tar pits. Geez, you'd think this would cause some chaos, but these people don't really seem to mind. They're filming Sunset Dreams in a studio when the birds, I guess, just fly into it and start attacking everyone. And you know what this means? The movie is about to get even more boring, and it does. You just have these terrible visual effects and everyone swatting and shooting at the birds. And this just goes on forever. People who are supposed to be dead are still breathing, and every few minutes we have to stop and check on someone, only to declare,
She's dead. She's dead.
She's dead.
She's dead.
She's dead.
They're dead. She's dead.
She's dead. Let's go.
She's dead.
They go outside where the birds are diving into things and exploding. Some woman is just stuck in this spot for some reason. I just don't understand this. Move. Run away. Then we have a new intense angle here, folks. I guess this is the bird cam. I also love how Rod and Bill are just unloading on these birds, and yet their guns never run out of bullets. The sound effects pretty much never match up with what's going on screen. And it's kind of funny because you look at just how much they're shooting here, and you can tell the editor just didn't even want to have to put in all the muzzle flashes, so they just stopped. They finally get to the woman by the sign, but it's too bad. They shot a bird, which explodes, and because the blood got on her, she chokes to death. What? I don't understand this. If the blood is acidic or whatever, or poisonous, like it was in the first movie, wouldn't it have gotten on them as well? So then I guess the birds fly off, and for some reason they start talking about turning this all into a movie.
I feel like I'm in a movie. In fact, my next script will be about birds attacking Hollywood.
Great idea. Hey, will you cast me in it?
Yeah, me too.
I can direct it.
Yeah, that's a great idea of turning this birds attack into a movie. You know what? It could be just as big as the Jaws franchise.
Yeah. Or maybe as big as Saw or Paranormal Activity franchise.
Seriously, it's like they were told to read the lines exactly how they were written in the script. So they go to the Western set where they find a small cabin but can't get in because the door is locked. But then some woman inside starts yelling at them to help her get out of it. I guess she's trapped, or just suddenly remembered how to use a lock. Who knows? Maybe it wasn't her fault. Maybe the door is haunted because it seems to be moving back and forth all by itself.
What is your name?
Jessica.
I'm Will, and I'm a screenwriter.
That's right. You've got nothing to fear from now on. I am a screenwriter. You got money, right? So they decide this whole thing is being caused by global warming and take off on a trail where eventually they find the tree hugger from the first film and his wife. And he explains what happened to him and how he met his wife.
After we spoke that day, there was a forest fire that burned and destroyed everything. The smoke from the fire made me sick. Coughing, I passed out.
So I guess Annie was just walking around the forest as well and saw him and just, I don't know, shook him a bit, and that's how they escaped. I didn't realize that saying, hey, we gotta get out of here, just completely negates smoke inhalation. Anyways, this is really just more preaching about how to be more environmentally friendly, and it just goes on and on and on.
Toilet paper is made from trees. Trees are cut down to make toilet paper.
So they take off and find an RV with the keys in it, just decide to steal it and go to, I don't know. I don't even think they know where they're going.
I know the shortcut through the cemetery.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Shortcut to where? Like, where are you going? So they go into the cemetery, and this is where the zombies start attacking them. The one chick actually manages to die, which is really pathetic. I mean, these aren't even the type of zombies that run at you. They're slow as shit. Just stay back. Why is that so hard?
Hey, we should go in that zoo. There might be people in there.
Where are you going? And why would it be a good idea to stop at a place that's full of animals? But they go in there anyways, and the zookeeper is like, hey, I'm fine. The birds don't attack me because I'm their friend. Anyways, they get into the RV, cave people start attacking them and chasing them. This goes nowhere, by the way. We never see them again. And then they decide to go to a hotel so that they can get some gas. And just in case you forgot that they were going to a hotel, it's okay, because we're gonna sit here and hold on this shot of the hotel for 20 seconds, just so that it really sinks in. they're going to a hotel. Once they get to the hotel, they decide to stop for some nice cold refreshments. But I guess the birds sense sugar and carbonation because here they come. And this is pretty much the end of the movie. They kill the screenwriter and fly away in a shot that's over 2 minutes long. Of course, I imagine this is exactly how a dead body looks when it's floating in water, just arms and legs completely stretched out as far as they could go. But you know what, honestly, we should thank our lucky stars because at least he doesn't have his sack out. Like some people we know. And that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.